Today we're doing something just a bit different from what we normally do on this channel, but it's a topic of discussion that I feel we must cover, for our community is at a perilous juncture, perhaps more perilous than most of you realise. I speak of course of the impending repeal of net neutrality, and the disastrous consequences such a rash act could have on our community. Now, some of you don't know what net neutrality is. It's an American thing after all, and some of you may have erroneously deluded yourselves into believing that this won't affect you. It will, whether you realise it or not. And first and foremost, so, what is net neutrality? If you're not from the United States, you'd be forgiven for knowing nothing about it, but for those of you stateside, net neutrality is what allows you to have free and open access to the entire internet. Your internet service provider can't block you from certain sites, can't throttle your download speeds when using particular services, and can't charge you extra for going where you want on the net. All this is protected by net neutrality's Title II regulations, and forces ISPs to treat all internet traffic the same. If net neutrality gets repealed, all that goes away. Suddenly ISPs could charge you more for accessing some sites. They might throttle speeds going to particularly high bandwidth websites in order to force their owners to pay them more for better speeds, or force you to upgrade to a fast lane through additional fees. They might even be able to block out some websites entirely. And all this is bad news for the Morrowind modding community, given that about 35% of all Morrowind modders are American, and a similar percentage of Morrowind players are likewise American. This will affect a rather large portion of the community, including modding veterans like Darknut, Greatness7, Milkwood Dog, Trainwiz, myself, and of course Fliggerty. One must remember that modding is a high bandwidth activity. Modding sites like the Nexus, Morrowind Modding History, and Great House Fliggerty generate more traffic and more bandwidth usage than normal websites, and will almost certainly become targets for ISPs in the event that net neutrality is repealed. Perhaps more alarmingly, Morrowind Modding History and Great House Fliggerty, which combined hold about 17,000 of the community's 23,000 mods, many of which can't be found anywhere else, are at particular risk. These websites are almost certainly already costly to maintain, and I sincerely doubt they bring in much revenue, and they're both owned by Fliggerty, an American. If net neutrality is repealed, download speeds for these websites will almost certainly be throttled, and Fliggerty might be forced to pay additional fees just to prevent the site from becoming unusable and putting the bulk of the community's mods in peril. So if you don't think this affects you, think again. Potentially losing access to so many mods will affect us all. Now I know some of you are of the belief that even though this is a potential disaster waiting to happen, there's nothing that you can do about it, that the FCC's vote to repeal net neutrality is a foregone conclusion, so why bother protesting it? Well, for one thing, if you're an American, there is something you can do. You can call your senators, your representative, you can write them, you can email them, you can make your voice heard, and make them understand that you, as one of their constituents, one of the people that they're supposed to be representing, and supposed to be answering to, do support net neutrality and do not support the FCC's plans to repeal it. And if you don't know how to call or write your representatives in Congress, you can stop by the Battle for the Net website, which you can find a link to down below, where they've made the whole process easy for you. And for our European friends, there's really not much you can do to help us, unfortunately. There's a petition that you can sign, and I have a link for that down in the video description below, but needless to say, that probably won't do much. Whatever you do though, do something! This could well be the battle for our very community, for our future, and doing nothing is not an option. And if you're an American citizen who, after having all these easy and simple tools at your disposal to make your voice heard, continue to do nothing while your community is put at peril, well then you are a coward and complicit in our downfall. And when the gaping maws of those additional fees and surcharges grasp around your neck, you'll have no one to blame but yourself. This is a fight for the future, for our community, and for the game we're all so passionate about. Do your part and fight! And now I do apologise for the somewhat political nature of this video. This is as political as this channel will ever get, and tomorrow we'll be returning with our regularly scheduled content. So I do want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. But in the meantime, remember to fight the FCC for all our sakes and help save the Morrowind modding community.